My friend, here's a strange truth about life. Most people don't ruin their lives with one big mistake, and they don't transform their lives with one big decision either. Lives fall apart, and lives are rebuilt through tiny, invisible choices. The small things you repeat every single day, the ones you barely notice, they are quietly shaping who you will become. Not tomorrow, not next year, but right now, this very moment. Let me tell you a small story. There's a famous tale about a British cycling team, a team that for almost 100 years was known for losing. Not failing, losing, consistently. They weren't taken seriously. Experts laughed at them. Manufacturers refused to give them good bikes because they didn't want their brand associated with failure. Then something surprising happened. The team hired a new coach, a quiet man named Dave Brailsford. He didn't tell the cyclists to train harder. He didn't scream motivational quotes. He didn't redesign the entire system. Instead, he focused on something ridiculously small: 1% improvements. He asked questions like, how can we make the seat just 1% more comfortable? How can the riders sleep 1% better? What if we wash hands 1% more effectively to reduce infection? What if we adjust the helmet shape for a 1% smoother airflow? Tiny changes, microscopic adjustments, improvements nobody thinks matter. But here's the magic. When you improve everything by 1%, the results don't add up, they multiply. Within 5 years, that losing team became one of the greatest cycling dynasties in history, winning multiple Olympic gold medals, Tour de France titles, and setting world records. Not because of one big change, but because of tiny, invisible habits building quietly behind the scenes. My friend, that's the secret most of us miss. We want massive success, but we ignore the small behaviors that create it. We want dramatic transformation, but we sabotage ourselves with tiny choices that pull us backward. You don't become fit by going to the gym once. You don't become wise by reading one book. You don't become broke from a single purchase. And you don't become depressed from one bad day. It's the accumulation of tiny habits, repeated enough times, that build or break your identity. Habits are not about goals. Habits are about who you become. Every action you take is like a vote for the type of person you wish to be. And that, right there, is why this book matters. Because whether you realize it or not, you are living inside a system you've built unconsciously. Your environment, your thoughts, your routine, your defaults, your distractions, your comforts, they're all shaping your destiny. And the most powerful truth is this: you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Let that sink in. A goal is a direction. A habit is a path. And the path is what gets you there. Not the dream taped to your wall. Not the notebook full of plans. not the motivational speeches, just the small, quiet choices you make repeatedly until they become a part of who you are. Atomic habits. Tiny habits. Habits so small they almost feel too easy. But repeated long enough, they can reshape your identity like water reshaping stone. Tonight, my friend, as you sit with me by this quiet flame, we're going to explore the science and the spirit behind these tiny behaviors. Where they come from, why they're powerful, why they fail, and how you can design them to change your life. Not through force, not through guilt, not through motivation alone, but through gentle, consistent systems that turn discipline into nature. So, take a breath, relax your shoulders, and let's begin the journey into the world of small changes with massive impact. Because your future is built one tiny vote at a time. Here's something we rarely admit. We don't notice progress when it's happening. We only notice it after it has happened. And that is why small habits feel useless at first and dangerous the deeper they grow. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you walk into a cold room. It's freezing. Your breath becomes fog. Your hands stiffen. In the corner, there's an ice cube sitting on a wooden table. You light a candle under it. The flame is warm, but the ice doesn't melt. The temperature begins to rise. 26 degrees, 27, 28, 29. Still nothing. You might think, this is pointless. Nothing is happening. But the temperature keeps rising. 30, 31, 32. Still nothing. And then, at 33 degrees, a drip. The ice cracks, just a little. A tiny shift, barely visible. Then another, and another. What looked like no progress was progress the entire time. My friend, that's your life. Your habits, your consistency, your tiny efforts that feel invisible. Progress is silent before it becomes obvious. There is a place James Clear calls the plateau of latent potential. It's the quiet stretch of life where you feel like you're trying and trying and trying, and nothing is changing. You run every morning but still feel unfit. You save money, but your bank balance looks the same. You read books but don't feel smarter yet. You're in the valley between effort and breakthrough. But here's the beautiful truth. Hard work is never wasted. It is being stored, silently, patiently, until the moment it releases. Like melting ice, like blooming flowers, like dawn breaking after a long night. The results are delayed, not denied. Most people quit not because the goal is too big, but because the improvement is too small. We want 100% transformation overnight. But life doesn't work like that. The world rewards tiny progress, repeated long enough. You don't lose 20 kilos by dieting once. You lose it by choosing a slightly healthier meal for months. You don't become confident by one big moment. You build it through tiny promises kept with yourself day after day. You don't become wise with one book. You become wise by reading a little every day. Small habits don't seem important until they become the most important. Here is the principle that can change your life. If you improve by just 1% every day, in 1 year, you become 37 times better. Not 37%, not double, not triple, 37 times better. Because improvement compounds. Growth multiplies. Consistency builds strong roots deep under the soil before it ever shows above the ground. And the opposite is also true. 1% decline every day doesn't look harmful today or tomorrow, but in a year, your life changes direction completely. A small negative habit is a quiet thief. It steals your potential in small amounts until one day you wake up and wonder, how did I get here? Everything you do, every behavior, every thought pattern, every routine is a habit. How you wake up, how you speak to yourself, how you react to stress, how you treat your body, how you work, how you rest, how you distract yourself, how you love, how you avoid. Most of your life is automated, and that is why we must design that automation consciously. Because if you don't choose your habits will choose your future. Goals are useful, but they are not enough. Everyone wants to be healthy, to be successful, to be disciplined, to be confident, to be at peace. Goals are not the problem. The system is. Because you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. If your system supports growth, you win without trying too hard. If your system supports chaos, you lose even with great intentions. So the question is not, how big is your dream? The question is, what tiny habits are quietly building your identity every single day? Because the smallest habits, done repeatedly, can rebuild your life in ways you can't yet imagine. Every habit you perform, from checking your phone to brush your teeth to scrolling endlessly at night or trying to start something new, is powered by a simple, ancient loop inside your brain. James Clear calls it the 4 laws of behavior change, but the truth is, your brain has been following these laws since long before you were born. Let me tell you a quiet truth. You don't control your habits as much as you think. Your habits control you, because they follow a pattern written deep in the wiring of your mind. And tonight, we're going to decode that pattern. Every habit, good or bad, runs through a 4-step cycle. Cue, craving, response, reward. Once you understand these 4 steps, you can build any habit effortlessly and break any habit without fighting yourself. Let's go through them slowly, gently, like a whispered lesson from the universe. The cue is the spark, the trigger, the thing that whispers, do it. Every habit has a cue. When your phone lights up, you check it. When you walk into the kitchen, you open the fridge. When you feel lonely, you scroll social media. When it's 7 a.m., you brush your teeth. The cue doesn't force you, it invites you. The real problem is this. Most cues in your life were placed there by accident. Your environment is silently training you without your permission. This is why James Clear says, you don't need more discipline, you need a better environment. If you remove the cue, the habit dies naturally. If you add the cue, the habit grows effortlessly. Habits are not built through strength. They are built through visibility. The craving is the desire behind the action. It's not the habit itself you want. You don't want to scroll Instagram, you want stimulation. You don't want chocolate, you want comfort. You don't want to open YouTube, you want escape. You don't want to work out, you want to feel confident. Every craving is emotional. Your brain is constantly asking one question: will this make me feel better right now? That's why bad habits are so seductive, because they offer immediate pleasure. And that's why good habits are so hard, because they offer delayed reward. So the secret is simple. To build good habits, you must make them feel attractive, gentle, inviting, pleasant, not forced. Your brain follows beauty, not pressure. Here's the truth nobody likes to admit. Humans don't do what's meaningful. We do what's convenient. The shorter the path, the more likely you'll walk it. If something requires too much effort, your brain resists. That's why James Clear created the 2-minute rule. Every new habit should take less than 2 minutes. Read 1 page. Wear gym clothes. Meditate for 60 seconds. Write 1 sentence. Your brain needs an easy win to build momentum. Small steps don't look impressive, but they change your identity, 1 repetition at a time. A habit sticks when it feels good. Pleasure writes memory. Pain erases it. If you reward a habit, you repeat it. If you make a habit unsatisfying, you avoid it. This is why tracking habits feels magical. Your brain loves visible progress. Crossing off a day, seeing a streak, checking a box. Your brain whispers, yes, do it again. Small rewards create big consistency, because the truth is, we repeat what rewards us. We abandon what punishes us. Let me show you how all 4 laws work together. Imagine you want to walk every morning. Cue, make it obvious, put your shoes near your bed. Craving, make it attractive, listen to your favorite music while walking. Response, make it easy. Just walk for 2 minutes. Reward, make it satisfying. Mark a big X on your calendar. Simple, gentle, effortless. This is how habits shape your identity, quietly, beautifully, day after day. And here's the twist. To break bad habits, you reverse the laws. Make the cue invisible, make the habit unattractive, make it difficult, make it unsatisfying. Breaking bad habits is not about fighting yourself. It's about designing a world where the bad habit has nothing to cling to. Every habit you build is doing far more than shaping your routine. It's shaping you, your identity, your beliefs, your self-image. And here is the truth most people never hear in their lifetime. True change is identity change. You don't become disciplined by forcing discipline. You become disciplined by becoming the kind of person who identifies as disciplined. Identity is the root. Habits are the branches. Most people try to grow the branches without fixing the root. Tonight, let's understand the root. James Clear explains behavior through 3 layers. 1. Outcomes. 2. Processes. 3. Identity. Most people focus here. X, outcomes, I want to lose weight. X, processes, I'll go to the gym. But almost nobody asks, what is the kind of person I must become? Because that's the real key. Your identity drives your habits, not the other way around. But here is the twist. Your habits slowly build your identity. Every habit is a vote for the kind of person you wish to be. My friend, sit with that idea for a moment. If you write 1 sentence today, you are voting to become a writer. If you meditate for 2 minutes, you are voting to become a calm person. If you take a walk, you are voting to become a healthy person. If you read 1 page, you are voting to become a reader. And these votes, these tiny actions, they begin to shift your self-image. You start believing, I am the kind of person who exercises, keeps promises, learns, grows, stays calm, improves, shows up. Identity doesn't change in a moment. It shifts gradually, quietly, like dawn spreading across the sky. But once identity shifts, habits become effortless. Because now you're no longer fighting yourself. You're expressing yourself. There's a famous psychological example. 2 people are trying to quit smoking. Someone offers them a cigarette. Person A says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." Person B says, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." See the difference? The first person still identifies as a smoker who's trying to change. The second person has already changed internally. When identity shifts, actions follow. Habits become natural when they match your identity. Most people think like this: I want to achieve this, so I'll try this habit, and eventually I'll become this type of person. It sounds logical, but it's backward. Identity comes first, behavior comes second, results come last. The correct order is this: I am this kind of person, so I do these habits, so I get these results. Identity, processes, outcomes. Not the other way around. Here's a question that quietly changes lives. Who is the type of person who could get the outcome I want? If you want to be strong, become the kind of person who never misses workouts. If you want to be wealthy, become the kind of person who manages money with intention. If you want peace, become the kind of person who doesn't react impulsively. If you want wisdom, become the kind of person who reads a little every day. Every habit is telling the story of who you believe you are. And if you want to change your life, rewrite the story. Repeating a habit strengthens your identity. Skipping a habit
weakens it. But here's the gentle truth. You don't need perfection. You need momentum. Missing once is human. Missing twice is a new pattern. Identity grows with repetition, not intensity. It's not about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it consistently. Like water carving rock, like wind shaping dunes, like time forming mountains. Small, steady, repeated. That's how identity shifts. My friend, close your eyes for a moment. Let's ask the question that begins transformation. Who do I want to become? Not what do I want, not what are my goals, but what kind of person is worthy of my future? That's the zone where atomic habits become powerful. Because when your identity aligns with your habits become effortless expressions of who you are becoming. This is how you change your life, quietly, softly, permanently.
If identity is the root of habit change, then environment is the soil that feeds everything. Most people believe they lack discipline, but what they truly lack is the right environment. Because the truth is simple. You repeat what is visible. You forget what is hidden. Your environment is silently shaping your actions every moment of your life. Let's explore this gently, like someone rearranging a quiet room to let more light in. Imagine this. You decide to eat healthier. You're excited, motivated, hopeful. But when you open your fridge, you see leftover pizza, sugary drinks, chocolate, snacks. Nothing fresh, nothing ready. Suddenly, your motivation disappears like smoke in wind. Was it a discipline problem? No, it was an environment problem. Your environment pulled you toward your old identity. It whispered, choose the easy path. Choose the familiar path. This is why James Clear says, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. And tonight, we're going to redesign that hand. Every habit starts with a cue, a signal, a trigger. You drink water because you see the bottle. You check your phone because you hear the vibration. You study because the book is open on your table. You scroll endlessly because your phone is nearby. You snack because food is in sight. Visibility creates action. Invisibility kills it. Humans are not driven by intention. We are driven by cues. So if a habit matters to you, make it impossible to miss. If a habit harms you, make it impossible to see. A tiny change in visibility can create a huge change in behavior. Let's walk gently through James Clear's simplest formula. Make the cues of good habits obvious and the cues of bad habits invisible. It's not about forcing behavior. It's about designing a space that shapes you effortlessly. Here is how this works in real life. 1. Want to read more? Place a book on your pillow every morning. You'll touch it before sleeping. That's a cue. 2. Want to drink water? Put a bottle on your desk and another one near your bed. 3. Want to meditate? Lay out your mat where you walk every morning. 4. Want to stop scrolling? Charge your phone in another room, not next to your bed. 5. Want to eat healthier? Keep fruits visible. Hide junk food behind containers or in a high cabinet. 6. Want to work more deeply? Remove distractions from your desk. Clutter is a cue pulling your mind away. Tiny changes, silent changes, but powerful ones. James Clear gives us one of the easiest tools for building new habits: habit stacking. It's simple. After I do current habit, I will do new habit. After I brush my teeth, I'll stretch for 30 seconds. After I make coffee, I'll read 1 page. After I come home, I'll tidy my room for 2 minutes. After dinner, I'll walk for 5 minutes. You attach a new habit to an old habit, like building a bridge from who you are to who you want to be. And over time, that bridge becomes your identity. My friend, have you ever noticed how easy life feels when the environment supports your habits? A clean desk makes you productive. A quiet room makes you calm. Visible water makes you hydrated. Books on your table make you curious. A phone far away makes you peaceful. Environment shapes behavior far more than motivation ever could. Because motivation is emotional, environment is physical, and physical cues are stronger than emotional intentions. So the question becomes, does your environment reflect your future or your past? If your environment supports your identity becomes effortless. Let me tell you a gentle truth. Your environment is either pushing you forward or pulling you backward. There is no neutral environment. So start small. Pick one room, one space, one habit. Ask yourself, what is the obvious cue for the habit I want? Then design the space to guide that habit like a soft hand on your shoulder. Because once you make good habits obvious and bad habits invisible, your life begins changing without resistance, quietly, naturally, beautifully. The fire glows steady, and we're ready to move deeper into transformation. My friend, here is a truth we often forget. We don't do things because they're good for us. We do them because they feel good. At least in the moment. Every habit you have, good or bad, is powered by one force: craving. Not the action, not the outcome, but the emotional desire behind it. Craving is the spark that ignites behavior. Tonight, let's understand that spark. Let's be honest. Eating junk food feels better right now than eating healthy. Scrolling your phone feels better right now than meditating. Sleeping in feels better right now than going for a walk. Your brain is not wired to think long-term. It's wired to reduce discomfort and increase pleasure immediately. This is why good habits feel difficult at first, because the reward is delayed. And why bad habits feel irresistible, because the reward is instant. So the question becomes, how do we make good habits magnetic and make bad habits lose their charm? James Clear gives us a simple answer. Make good habits attractive, make bad habits unattractive. Let's break this down gently, with real clarity. Every behavior you repeat gives you a small hit of dopamine. But here's the twist. You don't get dopamine when you experience reward. You get dopamine when you anticipate reward. It's the craving, the expectation, the thrill of feeling good that pulls you toward a habit. So if you want a habit to grow, you must make the craving stronger. If you want a habit to die, you make the craving weaker. This is how we reshape the brain. James Clear offers a powerful tool to make habits irresistible. Temptation bundling. You combine something you want to do with something you need to do. Here's how it works. Only listen to your favorite podcast while walking. Only drink your favorite tea while reading. Only watch Netflix while doing laundry. Only enjoy your best playlist while working out. Suddenly, the boring habit becomes attractive. Your brain begins to crave the entire experience. Good habit plus good feeling equals consistency. My friend, human beings are deeply social. We imitate the habits of three groups. The close, family, friends, partner. The many, the tribe, society, culture. The powerful, people we admire. This means if your environment is full of people who read, exercise, improve, build things, grow consistently, you will naturally drift into those habits. And if your environment is full of people who waste time, complain, procrastinate, and avoid growth, you will drift into that too. We copy what we see because belonging matters. So the key becomes, surround yourself with people whose habits are your desired identity, not people who pull you backward. You don't rise alone, you rise with the tribe around you. Just as you make good habits appealing, you must quietly change how you see the bad ones. Here's a gentle truth. A bad habit always comes with a story, a justification, just this once. But if you rewrite the story, the craving dissolves. For example, instead of, "I need my phone, I might miss something," tell yourself, "My phone is stealing my focus." Instead of, "I deserve a treat," tell yourself, "This food is stealing my energy." Instead of, "I'm too tired to walk," tell yourself, "This walk will restore me." Reframe the narrative, shift the meaning, change the emotional story you attach to the habit. Because once a habit feels unattractive, your brain loses interest, and desire fades like a candle burning out quietly. Everything in life comes down to emotion. You repeat habits that soothe you, comfort you, reward you, give you brief relief. So to build good habits, you must make them emotionally satisfying. Warm, gentle, inviting, something you look forward to. If a habit feels like punishment, your brain will rebel. If it feels like nourishment, your brain will embrace it. This is why James Clear says, a habit must be attractive for it to stick. Habits thrive on desire, not discipline. Think softly about this. What habit do you want to build? And ask, how can I make this more enjoyable, more pleasant, more emotionally rewarding? Just one small shift can change everything. Because when good habits become attractive, consistency becomes natural. Discipline becomes effortless. Change becomes gentle. And your future begins to reshape itself, quietly, beautifully, day by day. Have you ever wondered why we procrastinate on things that are good for us, and somehow instantly do things that distract us? It's not because we're lazy. It's not because we lack discipline. It's not because we don't want it enough. The real reason is simple. Your brain always chooses the path of least resistance, every single time. Not because you're weak, but because you're human. Your brain is designed to conserve energy, avoid struggle, and pick the easiest available option. So if you want a habit to grow, you must make it easy. Invisible effort, minimal resistance, almost automatic. Let's understand how tiny simplifications can transform your life quietly, beautifully. Let me give you a small story. Imagine two people want to play guitar. Person A keeps the guitar inside a zipped bag on top of a shelf in their closet. Person B keeps the guitar on a stand next to their bed. Who practices more? Obviously B. Not because B has more discipline, but because the friction is lower. One person faces a series of micro barriers. Open the closet, pull the bag out, unzip it, tune the guitar, sit down, begin. The other has none. The difference looks tiny, but tiny frictions create huge behavior gaps. The easier a habit is to start, the more likely you are to keep it. James Clear explains that every habit has a friction cost. If you reduce the friction, the habit becomes simple. If you increase the friction, the habit dies quietly. Let's explore this. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Keep your journal on your pillow. Keep a book on your desk. Keep fruits washed and ready. Keep your workspace clean. The less effort required to start, the more consistent you'll be. Delete social apps from your home screen. Put junk food on a high shelf. Use a different password manager for addictive apps. Unplug your TV after each use. Charge your phone in another room at night. Small barriers destroy bad habits quietly. You don't need force, you just need friction. This is one of the most beautiful, most practical tools in the entire book. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes. Why? Because your goal isn't to succeed at the habit. Your goal is to show up for the habit. Here's how it works. Want to read more? To read 1 page. Want to run? To put on running shoes. Want to meditate? To sit quietly for 2 minutes. Want to study? Open the book. Want to clean? Fold 1 shirt. Consistency first, intensity later. In the beginning, the habit is not the workout. The habit is the identity. Once you show up, momentum does the rest. Because a 2-minute start often turns into a 20-minute flow. This sounds big, but it's the simplest wisdom ever. Get consistent before you try to get better. Most people try to set the perfect routine, wait for motivation, wait for free time, buy new tools, make the perfect plan. But the truth is, you don't need perfect, you need repeatable. Do the small version, do the easy version, do the minimal version. Once the habit exists, you can improve it. Identity first, repetition second, mastery last. There's one more tool: automation. Anything automated becomes frictionless. Auto-invest a small amount monthly. Auto-buy healthy groceries. Auto-block distracting apps during work hours. Auto-download educational podcasts. The more you automate, the less your brain must think. Your systems take over. Your identity strengthens. Your future becomes easier. My friend, remember this softly. A habit doesn't fail because you miss a day. It fails because you stop returning. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to be present, to show up in the smallest way possible. Because consistency, even in tiny doses, compounds into transformation. Success is not dramatic. It is quiet. It is slow. It is gentle. And it begins with making life easier in the smallest ways. There's one thing you must understand before this. The human brain repeats what feels good and avoids what feels bad. This isn't philosophy, it's biology. Your brain is a reward machine, always scanning, always calculating, always asking, did this feel good? Should I do it again? And because of this, your habits, every one of them, are shaped by how they feel, not how they should feel, not how society tells you to feel, but how you feel. How to use that to your advantage. Let's be honest, good habits are annoying at the beginning. Eating healthy? No instant reward. Working out? You're tired and sore. Reading? It feels slower than scrolling. Meditating? You get bored. Sleeping early? Feels like you're missing out. Meanwhile, bad habits feel amazing instantly. Snacks, scrolling, smoking, drama, complaining, procrastination, instant dopamine, instant relief, instant satisfaction. Your brain isn't the enemy. It's simply wired for survival. Reward now, pain later. So how do we flip the script? James Clear tells us, make good habits immediately satisfying and bad habits immediately painful. Not painful as in suffering, but emotionally costly. Your brain makes decisions based on immediate experience. When something feels good, your brain says, yes, more of that. When something feels bad, no, avoid this next time. Long-term rewards? Your brain doesn't care. It cares what happens in the next 10 seconds. So if you want habits to stick, you must reward them instantly. Not later, not someday, right now. Let me show you how. There's something deeply satisfying about marking an X on a calendar or seeing your streak grow. Why? Because the human brain loves closure, completion, progress you can see. Habit tracking gives you a small hit of satisfaction every time you complete a tiny action. You might think, it's silly to celebrate small wins, but your brain loves it. One day becomes two. Two becomes a week becomes a month becomes identity. Consistency feels rewarding when you can see it. If you ever feel stuck, start tracking again. It reminds your brain why the habit matters. This is a philosophy made famous by Jerry Seinfeld. He said, take a calendar, pick one important habit, mark an X every day you do it. Soon, the chain grows, and your only job is not to break the chain. Simple, childlike, brilliant. Because your brain values streaks. It loves momentum. It hates losing progress. Satisfaction becomes motivation. This is where good habits become addictive, in a healthy way. Examples. After you exercise, take a warm shower. After you read, enjoy a cup of tea. After you write, put on your favorite song. After you meditate, light a calming scent. After you walk, buy yourself a fresh juice. Link the habit to something emotionally positive. Good feeling now equals repeated habit later. Not with punishment, not with guilt, just with awareness. Some simple strategies? Use an app blocker. Scrolling becomes effort. Leave your wallet at home. No impulse junk. Turn phone grayscale. Less dopamine. Set public goals. Failure becomes visible. Use financial penalties. Losing money hurts. Little discomfort breaks big habits. My friend, you don't need more discipline. You need more satisfaction. You don't need more restriction. You need more joy. Because when good habits feel rewarding, your brain becomes your partner, not your opponent. And when bad habits feel empty, your cravings fade naturally. No force, no guilt, only clarity. This is how habits become not just actions, but your nature. The fire glows warmly, and now you're ready for the deeper layers. Before we begin, let's acknowledge something gently. Bad habits are not failures. They are coping mechanisms. Every bad habit you have, every distraction, every craving, every escape, once served a purpose, a comfort, a relief, a moment of peace, a way to avoid pain. You weren't weak. You weren't undisciplined. You were surviving. Now, you are ready to grow beyond them. Let's take this slowly. All bad habits follow the same script. Easy, rewarding, immediate. That's the formula. Junk food, instant pleasure. Social media, instant stimulation. Smoking, instant relief. Procrastination, instant comfort. Gossip, instant connection. Gaming, instant escape. Your brain chooses relief over progress, comfort over growth. Not because you're weak, but because your brain thinks it's protecting you. So the path to breaking habits is not force, not shame, not punishment. It is inversion, taking the 4 laws of habits and reversing them. Let's walk through them. Remove the cues that trigger the habit, because the habit doesn't start with the action, it starts with the cue. Hide junk food in opaque containers. Put your phone in another room. Remove apps from your home screen. Unplug your TV after each use. Delete bookmarks of distracting sites. If you don't see it, you won't crave it. Bad habits die when cues disappear. Rewriting the story changes the emotion. Example: instead of "I deserve a treat," tell yourself, "This food steals my energy." Instead of "I need my phone to relax," tell yourself, "My phone drains my focus." Instead of "I don't feel like working," tell yourself, "I'll feel worse if I avoid it." Language shapes craving. Interpretation shapes desire. Reframe the habit, and it loses power. Increase friction. Make the habit annoying. Log out of apps. Use long passwords. Move snacks to high shelves. Use website blockers. Work away from temptations. Make bad habits inconvenient. If the friction rises, the habit crumbles naturally. Your laziness becomes your advantage. Bad habits survive because they feel rewarding. Remove the reward, the habit dies. Ways to do this. 1. Accountability. Tell a friend your goal. Report your progress weekly. Your brain hates disappointing others. 2. Habit contracts. If you break a habit, you owe money or lose privileges. Loss is painful, and pain creates change. 3. Self-reflection. After a binge, a relapse, a mistake, write what triggered it. Awareness removes satisfaction. 4. Replace the habit. You don't eliminate habits, you replace them. If scrolling relaxes you, replace it with music. If junk food comforts you, replace it with tea or fruit. If stress triggers overeating, replace it with a walk. Break the emotional reward and the habit dissolves. My friend, let me tell you something from psychology. You don't crave the habit, you crave the state it gives you. Not chips but comfort, social media but connection, procrastination but escape, smoking but relief, binge watching but numbness. So the key is not to punish the habit, but to understand the need. When you meet the need in a healthier way, the bad habit loses its reason to exist. That's real transformation. Be gentle with yourself. Bad habits form over months, sometimes years. They hold emotional meaning. So breaking them requires gentleness, not violence, not guilt, not self-blame. When you slip, return softly. When you relapse, try again gently. What matters is that you return. Momentum grows from returning. Identity grows from returning. Freedom grows from returning. Breaking bad habits is not about fighting the old self. It's about meeting the needs your old self didn't know how to express. You're not fixing yourself. You are learning yourself, understanding yourself, growing beyond what once protected you. We've talked about identity, environment, attraction, satisfaction. But now we unlock one of the most beautiful, almost spiritual truths behind human behavior. Doing something small is infinitely better than planning something big. Let that sink in like warm tea. The greatest enemy of habits is not failure, or confusion, or lack of knowledge. It's overwhelm. When a habit feels big, your brain says, "Not now. Maybe later. I'm tired. Tomorrow. Next week." And you don't move. The 2-minute rule is the antidote. It is the philosophy that bypasses the resistance inside you and turns overwhelming goals into effortless beginnings. Let's go gently. James Clear says, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes. Not because 2 minutes will change your life, but because 2 minutes will change your identity. 2 minutes of reading makes you a reader. 2 minutes of meditation makes you a meditator. 2 minutes of writing makes you a writer. 2 minutes of walking makes you a person who moves. 2 minutes builds identity. Identity builds consistency. Consistency builds mastery. It's simple. It's gentle. It's powerful. Let's explore the human mind. Your brain has 2 modes. 1. The planning mind. Loves thinking, loves lists, loves dreams, loves someday. 2. The doing mind. Loves action, loves simplicity, hates complexity, hates big commitments. The 2-minute rule bridges these 2 worlds. It convinces your brain that the habit is too small to resist. And once you start, momentum takes over.
A 2-minute walk often becomes 10. A 2-minute stretch becomes a full session. A 2-minute journal entry becomes a page. A 2-minute cleanup becomes a tidy room. Starting is the gateway to continuing. My friend, people often ask, how do I build discipline? How do I become consistent? How do I stop being lazy? The answer is so gentle, it almost feels unbelievable. Show up. Just show up. Even for 2 minutes. Most people plan to change their lives, but never show up. Most people dream of transformation, but never begin. But you, once you show up consistently, even in small doses, you become unstoppable. Because discipline is not built through intensity. It is built through repetition. Examples of 2-minute habits. Let's make this practical. Want to run? Put on your running shoes. Want to read? Open the book. Want to meditate? Sit down and breathe for 2 minutes. Want to quit social media? Log out after each use. Want to work deeply? Open the document. Want to write a book? Write 1 sentence. Want to eat healthier? Cut 1 piece of fruit. Want to journal? Write 1 line. These tiny actions feel almost pointless, but they shift identity. And identity is everything. 2-minute habits are not meant to be the final habit. They are gateway habits. Habits that lead you into the real habit. Putting on your running shoes equals running. Opening the book equals reading. Setting up your table equals studying. Cleaning 1 dish equals cleaning the kitchen. 2 minutes is the ritual. The ritual makes the habit automatic. Once the ritual is established, the harder part becomes easy. Because rituals remove decision-making. And decision-making is where most people fail. The real battle is starting. Let me tell you something soft and true. You don't fail because the habit is difficult. You fail because you never start. You fail in the first 10 seconds. I don't feel like it. It's too late. I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Let me check my phone first. The 2-minute rule destroys the first 10 seconds. It removes resistance. It bypasses procrastination. It makes the beginning effortless. And once you begin, nature takes over. Even with 2-minute habits, you will slip. You will fall behind. You will have off days. You will feel overwhelmed. That's normal. That's human. The rule is simple. Miss once and return. Never miss twice. 1 miss is an accident. 2 misses is the start of a pattern. Forgiveness becomes discipline. Gentleness becomes consistency. My friend, listen closely. A habit doesn't need to be impressive. It just needs to be consistent. Because every repetition rewires the brain. And every 2-minute action casts a vote for the future version of you. Discipline grows not from force, but from frictionless beginnings. That is the wisdom of the 2-minute rule. My friend, we've walked through identity, environment, attraction, ease, satisfaction. We've broken bad habits, rebuilt good ones, and learned how to begin again. Now we ask a deeper question. How do you stay consistent for life? Not motivated for a week, not disciplined for a month, not intense for a short burst, but consistent for years, for decades, through seasons of chaos and seasons of calm. The answer lies in something simple, soft, almost childlike, the Goldilocks zone. Not too hard, not too easy, just right. Let's settle into it. There's a beautiful psychology principle. We stay engaged when a task is challenging enough to stretch us, but not hard enough to break us. If the task is too easy, you get bored. If the task is too hard, you get overwhelmed. Motivation lives between boredom and anxiety. That middle space, that gentle stretch, is where habits blossom. This is the Goldilocks zone. It's not dramatic, not extreme, not heroic. It's sustainable. And sustainability is the heart of lifelong consistency. Most people fail not because the habit is wrong, but because the difficulty level is wrong. They start too big. They jump into extremes. They try to become someone new overnight. And when the habit feels too heavy, their brain whispers, not today, not now, maybe later, tomorrow. They fall, lose momentum, feel guilt, and give up. But the wise understand. Success is rhythm, not intensity. It's a continuous melody, not a single loud note. Ask yourself gently, does this habit feel achievable today? If yes, continue. If no, make it simpler. Does this habit stretch me slightly? If yes, you're in the zone. If no, increase challenge gently. This zone changes depending on your energy, your stress, your environment, your emotions, your season of life. Consistency comes not from forcing the same level every day, but from adjusting the level and still showing up. Like a river that flows softly around every rock, yet never stops moving. Mastery is boring, and that's the beauty. Here's a quiet truth. Professionals stick to the basics. Amateurs chase intensity. Top athletes practice the same drills for years. Top writers write even on boring days. Top musicians rehearse fundamentals endlessly. Mastery is not glamorous. It is repetition, refinement, micro adjustments, tiny improvements, accumulated wisdom. And when you stay in the Goldilocks zone, always stretching slightly, never overwhelming yourself, you grow without burning out. Consistency becomes natural, effortless, a part of your identity, like breath. James Clear reminds us that consistency is not perfection. It is the habit of returning. And for that, we need gentle reflection. Every week ask, what worked? What was difficult? What can I simplify? What needs adjusting? Every month ask, am I still becoming the person I want to be? Every year ask, what identity did I strengthen? What identity do I want to build now? Reflection turns habits into evolution. My friend, when you live in the Goldilocks zone, something magical happens. You begin improving without noticing. You become wiser without effort. You become stronger without struggle. Habits become not a chore, not a project, but a rhythm, a flow.
a companion. Your life becomes a quiet transformation, unhurried, steady, beautiful. And that, my friend, is the true promise of atomic habits. Not perfection, but progress. Not intensity, but identity. Not a sprint, but a lifelong dance between who you are and who you're becoming. And that's it for today, my friend. You were listening to Wise Alchemy. The story ends here for now, but you and I will meet again. Thank you.